So I've only been with Liferay for about a year, a little over a year and a half now. And so they gave me this new project, and it's called Marketplace, okay? And one of my roles here at Liferay is to not only to build and envision Marketplace, but to test the product. And so I am building Marketplace, testing the product as we go. So I feel the pain of this transition point that we're going through here. I'm living it, and I believe it has a lot of potential. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here instead of with my wife on our 20th wedding anniversary. So this is about you. Enough about me. This is about you. This is about how you can grow your reach with Marketplace 2.0. And the term that I love to use is re, and it's a prefix, and it can mean again and anew. It can mean to retell, but it can also mean to look back. And as I look back, as Olaf said in 2012, the Marketplace was something relatively new, something novel, an idea that was, I think Apple was just getting into the game too with their App Store. And so we said, well, let's ride this wave, as Brian talked about earlier this morning. Let's ride this wave. And now we have this SaaS transformation, and we need to ride the wave again. So we need to redo and re-envision Marketplace. How many of you have used or have an app on Marketplace 1.0? Wow, okay, all right. How many people actually sell their app on Marketplace 1.0? Oh, we've got 2, okay. All right, Sebastian over there too, yeah. So it's still running, it's on Liferay 6.2, it's old, it's custom. It represents, in some ways, a metaphor about the way that we used to do things. It is so custom that it is still on 6.12, right? So it looks the same as when we released it, maybe with a couple changes, but generally its functionality is extremely limited. So what we need to do is we need to re-envision and recreate a marketplace that uses your expertise, your strengths in our partners and community. And so you represent our community, and I'm very, very grateful to have you. There is so much latent potential in each one of you that is just waiting for a vehicle to get it out of your mind and get it out into the marketplace. My wife sells on Etsy. How many people know what Etsy is, right? And you go to Etsy and you're just like, wow, look at this. Oh, this is really cool. And you just see creativity. And so we want to unbox, we want to get that stuff out there to the community so other people can benefit from the true ethos of what we're about, which is about sharing, open source, about giving other people a head start on their projects so they too can be successful. And when one is successful, and 2 are successful, and 3 are successful, we're all successful. Okay, so this is about you. Okay, so what did we do in the interim? So back in Devcon 2022, last year, Brian says we're gonna relaunch Marketplace, and so we did. And what I said at Partner Summit, I said when you don't want to rebuild something, what do? You repaint it. And so really, this is largely a repainting of the Marketplace. We built it with commerce. We migrated everything to be commerce products, so to present that you can see that, and we added a sibling, the Solutions Marketplace. Okay, so we knew that we needed to re-envision about what it could be. And we wanted to do it on Liferay. So this is Liferay. We're using Liferay. It's almost like that talk this morning, forget Liferay, use Liferay. So we are sort of drinking our own champagne here as we build Marketplace. And ultimately, we want a platform that is going to renew the Marketplace reflex. And Sebastian, I thank you so much for that idea, that concept of just a reflex. Where do I go when I have a problem? Okay? And does anybody know who that is? Rocky Balboa? Sylvester Stallone? Right? You think of agility, right? You think of someone who's been trained to think a certain way. And so it becomes second nature. And that's what we want. We want the Marketplace to be something that you go to as a second nature without even thinking about it. Let me check the Marketplace. I have a problem. Let's see if somebody solved it through an app or somebody solved it through a solution. We want you to get to that place, okay? And in order to do that, we have to build the right ecosystem for you to do that. Okay, so how are we going to do that? First of all, we have to reimagine. And the beautiful thing about imagination is that it's in your head and it's not on paper and it can be easily changed, okay? So we had to have some guiding constructs here. First of all, we have to make it SaaS. right? It has to be SaaS. And not just SaaS in the way that it delivers the apps, but SaaS in the sense of the way that it's built, right? So it's very reliant on DXP Cloud, LXC. This is what we want. We make it SaaS. We make it easy, right? So we don't want to make it overly complicated for you to submit and get approval in the marketplace. Now, we're going to have to think about some categories and some policies to regulate and to guard against some stuff that isn't healthy for our community, but we want to make it easy. We want to make it that one place, right? That place where you go. So if I think about when I go shopping, I go to the marketplace, right? Why do we go to a marketplace? Because it has everything we need. It's a one-stop shop. I can get my fruit, I can get my produce, I can get my vegetables, I can get my bread. I can go to one place and I can get it. And we want to make it for you, right? So we want this feedback. This is really, really at the opening stage of Marketplace 2.0. And we don't want to get too far down the road. Because if we get too far down the road, we'll build something and we'll find out you don't really want it. And so we want to make sure that you want this. And then we're going to rebuild it. And so that's where we are right now. We are rebuilding. We have an internal alpha that we just released. And now we're rebuilding a beta phase of this. So again, I said Liferay Commerce, client extensions. Client extensions. We are using client extensions to build Marketplace. And of course, hosted on LXC. And then we want to rebirth it. And the reason why I use the word rebirth is because it's something that's living. Okay, when we think about a living thing, it's animated, it moves, it thinks on its own. And so we want that to be your experience where you can actually go someplace that you know it's going to be alive and not dead. There's something happening in Marketplace. So that means retaining DXP apps. We're going to keep them. I'll give you the guidelines surrounding those. And we're going to retool. We're going to grow cloud apps. Okay, so let's talk about some of those points, those governing principles. An ecosystem for end-to-end delivery of apps. End-to-end means that when you purchase it, this was Marco's vision, that it just appears in DXP ready to go. Okay, that's the end-to-end vision. Now, we're not there yet, but that's the goal. And we want to make this end-to-end seamless for upgrades and for support. And so we want to make it so that people can get their apps quickly. And we want to make it easy. So again, the hurdles to onboarding, listing, and acquisition of resources are low. Even just like the thinking about the onboarding, how much questions do we want to ask before you can create an account? Now, there are some things, if you're going to sell apps on the marketplace, you need to put some information in there governing the sale of apps. But we really want to make it easy to get started. And again, the one place, the analogy that I use is that we're building shelves, okay? Empty shelves. Then you can slot in your goods. And we want you to be able to do that. And then finally make it for you. We want it to be a joy for you to use. And so kind of what we see now is we see a lot of construction going on. If you ever peered through the gates at a construction site, you look in there, it looks nothing like what they're building, but it actually looks like a lot of plumbing and steel and concrete. That's really where we are right now. We're putting in the infrastructure to support the building. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how it was built. Again, we're using that latest release. So as that weekly release comes out, we're sort of tasting our own champagne, trying to understand where are the problems, and that's kind of slowed us down a little bit, all right? It slowed us down, but we are confident that when we release this, we want it to be tested, and the real way to do that is to do it ourselves, so we solve the problems before you experience them. We're using commerce, accounts, objects, and custom fields. And then we have a client extensions, they're running in cloud, some personas. The initializer, I want to talk about that particularly, is that we are configuration, content, and updates is all happening through this initializer, which we hope to extend out into a client extension that one day you can also use an initializer to build solutions. And then finally, we're building it on React, as we know that that's the framework, the front-end framework. And Dialect is a system that we're using based on Clay to make the experience of all the Liferay solutions that we're building internally the same. Okay, so let's talk about what an app is. As you can see in this box, it could be a lot of different things. As you see on some of the examples there, we really want you to, even custom objects, something simple. We don't want to really define an app as maybe Apple would describe it. We really want it to be something that is able to be flexible. So if you take a JSON file of a custom object, you'll be able to sell that on the marketplace or list that on the marketplace. So anything custom in a verified, reproducible, sellable, and deployable standard. Okay, this is the slide that's really kind of a little bit, what would I say, tough to define. It's tough to categorize these apps. So on the left-hand side, we have DXP apps. On the right-hand side, we have cloud apps. So DXP apps would what would be described as your traditional apps with jar and WAR files. And the development container, Liferay Workspace, as Greg said in the session earlier, it's the same way. You're deploying through Liferay Workspace. The bundling method is a little bit different. We had LPKG files with properties. Now we have this universal zip. And all the details of this, I would encourage you to go to the session tomorrow, the workshop. And we have this YAML file which describes the client extension and the app. And then the provisioning method, it has changed a little bit. We're going to use LCDB deploy to get it into LXC, and then managing it through the Cloud Console. And some of the other data there we can talk about, but I want to move on. But just if you get a screen capture of that, this is always subject to change, but we're trying to categorize them old and new. Okay, so what are we going to do with DXP apps? They're still supported for 7.4 only. Okay, so when we migrate, when we shut down Marketplace 1.0, we're going to bring everything in, but we're just going to bring in the last version. Okay, so you'll get that last version. So if you have version 5 through 10, number 10 will come in, and we'll be able to sell or list that in the marketplace. You may need to do some rebuilds of the marketplace apps as new versions of 7.4 have been released. Okay, so what is it going to look like? And we have this concept of a publisher, and a publisher is someone who puts apps in the marketplace. So we have this dashboard that we're building, and this is available today. We're testing it. We've built this. You can switch accounts on the top, so you get multiple accounts, and you have apps on the left-hand side, and as you can see, you can support both cloud and DXP apps. So this is just a general idea. We can also support the sales. We will be able to track your sales. And finally, on the customer side, they will also have a dashboard that they'll handle the management, upgrading, and delivery and licensing of the apps themselves. Okay, so how is this going to work? I could just sit here and watch people type on their keyboard all day, but this is just a GIF of my friend Misael here, just creating a client extension. And what you're going to see as you create a client extension is just a lot of command lines, a lot of using Gradle deploy, LCP deploy into the cloud. So this is a lot of stuff that's out of my realm here. So go to Greg, go to Ilion, and go to Ray. Those are the guys that are going to be able to help you to create this part of it. So once you create that, we're going to be publishing it, ordering it, provisioning it, and deploying it in the marketplace. So again, deep dive tomorrow. I want you to really, really go to that if you're interested. And the Git samples are on GitHub of client extensions that you could test out on, and also a plug for learn.liferay.com. Be sure to use that as we solidify guidance on how to build and package applications. That's the place that you'll get the right answers, okay? So I may say things, they are subject to change. Learn is the place you want to go. Okay, so I have some animated GIFs here. We'll just talk about publishing an app. As you can see here, we're just going to enter in some information about the app. There'll be some guidance along the way that you'll be able to use. We're going to upload the image for the app, the icon, and then we're going to go ahead and give it a name, enter some descriptions in there. So you can see it's wizard-driven. Some of the feedback I got is will we have an option to do other than wizard? That's a possibility. We were looking into that. But you can add some categories here, and then add some tags if you want to. And then, as you can see, it's cloud compatible or not. There'll be a couple ways that you can actually build an app. Some of them might be either through GitHub repo integration or cloud integration. And we're going to go ahead and upload a zip file, that universal zip that we learned about here. And this is a very simple app. We're going to select some files for our images, storefront images. And then we're going to go ahead and enter in some more information there. Free app or paid, and different licensing schemes. And you can also offer trials for it as well. I'm going to enter in some metadata. This could be added with additional metadata. And then finally, we're going to click Continue, review the app, and then submit it for review to the marketplace. Okay. Next, we're going to order the app. And this is the live marketplace as we built it today. And then we're going to have an option to get the app up in the upper right-hand corner. But so I'm going to review the app, see if it's what I want. Check a lot of the metadata here, make sure it's all in check. I can click on Get App, and I can go ahead, and because it's free, I can go ahead and purchase it. Now, we're going to have accounts. You'll have a personal account and also a company account that you can add this to. And, of course, that will be available for all the members of your account. And then at this point, we're going to get an order ID. We probably won't use order ID long term. We're thinking about another way to provision it. Okay, so now we're in the Cloud Console. We've got this order ID. We're going to go ahead and search for the app. We're going to read the information, make sure it's exactly what we want, and we're going to go ahead and install it inside of Cloud. Okay, so this is a Cloud app. And next, we're going to deploy the app. So in this case, we're going to just get it right straight out of DXP. So that app is now deployed inside of DXP. I can just merely drag it right on the page, and I can use it exactly as if it was within DXP. Now, let's just say I'm ready. I've tested it in UAT, and I want to deploy it to prod. So this is within the Cloud Console. You'll be able to select the prod environment with the same build. You're going to deploy the build to the prod environment. It's going to take a few seconds to build that. And then we're going to be able to do the same here in prod. And there we go. And you can see that it's in prod. So that's just an example of deploying an app end-to-end in Liferay Marketplace. Okay, so what's next? There's a lot of refinement that we need to do, and most of it surrounds testing the deployment, making sure that it actually works for multiple different types of apps. And we need to refine a lot, I'll be honest with you. And the statement that I used at the Partner Summit is first the thing is impossible, then it's difficult, then it's done. First the thing is impossible, then it's difficult, and then it's done. And I think we're in the difficult phase right now. We're really trying to envision this to make it work across a large variety of apps. And then we need your feedback. So I want to hear from you. We want to realign. Are we going the right direction? Is this exactly what you want, or is there something else that you're looking for? And then we're going to release. And so what we're doing is we're looking for a beta release in third quarter with a hopeful GA of fourth quarter. So that's really the vision here for Liferay Marketplace. And largely, we just want to get this feedback from you because we are building this for you. So really, just thank you for everyone to your time. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Correct me if I am wrong, but I think in the current marketplace, there is no way to see if an application will be supported. And I mean enterprise support. Me, as a company, I would like to get a plugin, but then to get a support for it. So if I find a problem, then I can report to somebody and expect. Do we have this feature in the new marketplace too?
Yeah. So if you're going to purchase an app with a subscription, the subscription includes support. In the cloud app, if you want to purchase support, in the old marketplace, you could list support licenses, and you'll be able to list support licenses for DXP apps in the marketplace. So you will be able to buy support. And if support is not included, you didn't see the actual purchase, but there's actually a little notification when someone's going to buy the app that will say whether support is included or not. So yes, you will be able to have the option. But anything that's offered as a subscription, as a cloud app, you must provide support for it. Okay? Unless it's free, obviously. If you're paying for it, you must provide support.
So you can see if your credit card is required, then it's supported.
Any other questions?
There's one here.
Yeah.
The microphone's coming. Thank you.
Hello, Matt.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the talk. It
Yep.
was awesome. How can we prevent for someone, I don't know, make some malicious code and put in the marketplace, for example?
Can you say that again?
A malicious,
Malicious.
code.
Oh, malicious. Yeah. So what you didn't see was the review process. So when you submit it, it automatically becomes pending in the marketplace, and we have to work through. I mean, with the cloud innovations team, exactly what it means to be a good app. Right. We're going to do some testing. When the old marketplace, when a marketplace app was submitted, there was a series of tests that it went through, and we're working on generating those tests that will verify that app. So there will be some guidelines. Again, as things become solidified, please go to learn.liferay.com. That will be the guidance that you need. Because some people have asked me, well, how do I build these client extensions and how do I roll them into apps? You know, as that guidance becomes more clear, we're going to publish that on Learn. Yeah.
Cool, awesome. Thank you.
There's one there.
There's Dmitry over there.
Could you raise your hand? Yeah,
Raise your
there's-
hand higher up. Yep.
Thank you, Max. It's really inspiring. I just wanted to ask about the marketplace itself. And as a buyer, when I buy the application, is there any chance for me to customize the thing that I've bought? For example, I don't need the front-end part. I just want to throw it away and reuse the code base.
Yeah, that's a good question. Are you talking about a cloud app, or are you talking about? Yeah, so when you buy the app, you get a zip of the app, right? So it's a build that, and this is the tension of apps. Like, you know, when I buy an Apple app, I don't really want to do a lot of modifications, or I can't do a lot of modifications to it. So, you know, there will be the opportunity to contact the publisher of the app, and maybe there's something that you want in the app that it doesn't do, or maybe you can work with that publisher to create a new version of the app that does what you want it to do. So there will be an idea of collaboration. So the be-all, end-all is not always the purchase of the app. It may be services, for instance. Like you may say, I love your app. It doesn't quite do what I want it to do. Could you build me another version? And then you can engage with the services agreement with that partner or with the publisher of that app. And so we use the term publisher specifically, which means that it's meant to be somebody who puts it on the marketplace, but they may or may not sell. It could just be a door to engage in a relationship with that person. So right now, the cloud apps that are being sold cannot be modified. But again, there will be the opportunity with the publisher to make a special version or build of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I would say that's the pitch for anybody who is not quite sure if their app is 100% what everybody wants. Well, if it's in that direction, you can use that as a conversation starter with customers, with people who actually can make use of that.
Yes, correct.
So I call Marketplace a watering hole where you can just say, hey, showcase, this is what we built. You need more? Well, you know who wrote it.
And to be honest with you, somebody may share their source code. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a simple way of doing it, is to share their source code. And, you know, whereas the app might be a particular build of a certain version, maybe they'll share their source code and you can modify it. Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to extend on the question.
Yep.
Sorry. So say that I buy a application that's actually published by Liferay.
Yeah.
Go a bit closer.
I bring it closer and then it starts screaming.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Ah, like that. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
So again, I buy an application that is published by Liferay, and you say that maybe eventually you can get in contact with the publisher, in that case Liferay, to ask for custom things to be done on the application. So what would be the process for custom, asking Liferay to do custom work for a client?
Yeah, so you're asking through the marketplace. I'm just trying to understand the nature of the question. But before can you return back the?
Basically, what would be the way to say to Liferay, can you build us something inside the portal, in that case, it can be like an application that Liferay published in the marketplace.
Okay, so you're asking Liferay to deliver features to the marketplace? Is that what you're saying?
Well, not really. We've done it in the past. My company done it in the past, like probably 10 years ago, that Liferay did some custom work for us, and then it ended up in the 6.2 version of the portal as well. So my question is, if we would like to ask Liferay again to do something like that, like custom work, custom features, what is the process of this? Maybe it's not your field of...
Yeah, I think that would probably fit more under a feature request than it would actually like a marketplace app request.
So even if we say we find an application that is published by Liferay, still we...
Oh, you're talking about in the marketplace and you want to do modifications to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that could be a way of delivering the app to you. And we've sort of played around with the idea with like sort of private apps as opposed to public. Again, those are just things that we could work through the details of how that would actually work to deliver a custom feature to you through the marketplace, but actually not listing it on the marketplace. So that you would manage it under your cloud app console, where you would see all the apps that you purchased, and that would be included, but it wouldn't actually be listed on the console, it would just be delivered through the marketplace. So yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand.
And I would say of all of the publishers, Liferay is the easiest to contact.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another question that I've heard here. I was like, how do we actually give those feedback, that, like all of that feedback that everybody here is asking? Well, take a look. Remember the handsome face, and meet him during the party, at the next coffee break, and so on, and just corner him. He won't go before you let him go.
And the fundamental fact, everyone, is that I don't know what I don't know. Okay, so there's a lot of you and one of me, and there's a lot of great folks at Liferay that want to build great things, and we don't know. I'm not going to be offended if you say, this doesn't make any sense, or that we need this and not this. That's what I want to hear. I want your feedback. I want your ideas. That's not to say we're going to do them all, but it is to say that I want to listen to you, because really, ultimately, we're building this for you.